You're watching ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. Welcome to the T-Row ACC Men's Basketball Tournament on a rainy Thursday from Charlotte, North Carolina. It's day 3. It's quarterfinal Thursday. And by the end of today, we'll have seen all 15 teams that made it to Charlotte in action. We'll be down to the Final Four. NC State and Virginia will start our quarterfinal quadruple header. Still to come, Duke, North Carolina, and Miami, the double-bye seeds. But for now, it's the Wolfpack off a high-flying win over Pitt against the Cavaliers for the 3rd time this season. Welcome back to Spectrum Center on this Thursday. Kevin Brown, 3-time ACC tournament champion, Jay Williams. So Virginia, if you're just tuning into college basketball, what a story this is. New coach, new style, but feels like those powerful Cavalier teams in the not too distant past.
You know, there's a lot of talk about teams that could win it, and everybody makes mention of Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Florida, but I firmly believe UVA is a team that can crack the Elite Eight. If they crack the Elite Eight, they can reach a Final Four. Typically, they say it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. Well, in order for NC State to beat a UVA team that is one of the most talented teams in the ACC, it all starts with Quadir Copeland. He's a guy who has great positional size at 6'6", and yesterday he scored or assisted for 46 of the team's points versus Pitt. His size allows him to get to the rim, 24 points, 8 assists. And that dazzling move right there cemented a win for NC State. And when you think about UVA, it starts with Tess DeRitter, all ACC first team, leads the team in points and rebounds, a physical driver with nimble feet. He sets the tone for the Cavaliers in the front court.
It is an entirely new Virginia team with a new head coach, Ryan Odom. A particularly special place for him to be. For more on his story, we check in with Taylor Tannenbaum.
Yeah, KB, today is a special milestone for Ryan Odom because this is the tournament he grew up going to as a kid. It's well documented. His dad, Dave, was an assistant at Virginia in the 80s before moving on to be the head coach at Wake Forest. And Ryan vividly remembers the Deacs winning back-to-back ACC championships, but his earliest memory back in 1983 when NC State upset Ralph Sampson and Virginia to go on and win the title. He chuckled when he told me that because fitting they meet here today. But Dad is in the building, only this time he's in the stands. Son is on the sideline, and it is a full circle moment for this family.
Pretty special story, Taylor. Pretty special picture. Ryan as a ball boy, and there is Dad Dave, who took Wake Forest to 2 of the Deacs' 4 all-time ACC tournament titles, and now he's hoping his son Ryan can lead Virginia to its 4th ACC tournament championship.
Got a chance to play against Dave Odom when he was at Wake Forest, one of the elite coaches we have in ACC history. But when you think about what his son, Ryan Odom, has done, has led 3 programs to the NCAA tournament, all in his 2nd season at the helm. Did it with Utah State in 2023, VCU last year, and now what he's doing again with this UVA team, having them prone to make a run deep in March.
2 first-year head coaches, Ryan Odom for Virginia, which Joe Lunardi projects as a 4 seed, could take a step up with a good run here. And then NC State, which beat Pitt yesterday, coached by Will Wade in his first season. His team has made the conference tournament final a couple of times at Nice, Chattanooga, VCU. He's made NCAA tournaments 7 of the last 11 years. NC State seems pretty safe right now with the bubble carnage around them, but a win today would make it 100% locked that the Wolfpack will be dancing come next week. Great day of ACC action. The top 8 teams in the league all advance to this quarterfinal round. Sometimes chalk can be boring in March, but sometimes it can lead to great games, and we have 4 terrific matchups for you all day here from Charlotte. NC State and Virginia for the 3rd time this year. Lee Cassell will throw it up. Jamel Spearman, AJ Desai with him, and on the way down, Johan Grunlow wins the tip for the Virginia Cavaliers. Dallin Hall runs the point for UVA, 27-4 on the year, 15-3 in the league, and they have crushed NC State in both meetings. In fact, NC State did not lead in any of the 80 minutes against Virginia in the regular season. Sam Lewis, a big scorer for UVA, misses his first shot. It's rebounded by Van Allen Lubin. We'll see if the Wolfpack can take that first lead against UVA with Copeland and Trey Holloman along with Paul McNeil, the ACT's leading three-point shooter. Darian Williams and Van Allen Lubin, a very talented starting five.
McNeil was big for NC State yesterday with 15 points. This really extends the floor and creates driving lanes for opportunities like that for Dear Copeland with the travel.
Yeah, before the foul, Copeland whistled for the travel. He had 8 assists yesterday. He also had 5 turnovers in a 24-point game. NC State shot 61%, a season high. They're not going to do that again in all likelihood because Virginia is one of the nation's best defensive teams. Paul, Thomas, and Lewis all transfers. DeRitter and Grunlow, 2 big men over from Europe. Virginia will go legitimately 9 deep, and it's some of the best depth you'll see in the nation. A driving Malik Thomas is denied by Lubin, and it's last touch by Thomas.
We spoke yesterday about the physicality and the mental toughness of NC State. When you play against an opponent that you lost to by 15 in Raleigh, and then you lost to by 29 in Charlottesville, this test of will and determination and execution to the cumulative effect for NC State will determine whether they win this game or not.
Well, here's how you know you're not watching Tony Bennett, Virginia. Some early full court pressure. Used to be the pack line D, now it's more of a full court style. Either way, Virginia remains among the best defensive teams in the nation and among the toughest to get a good look at. Lots of long possessions, lots of shot clock violations typically forced.
One of the difficult things for NC State, they're used to picking on people on positional sides. And everybody for UVA 6'4" or taller, as you see Van Allen Lubin, who's been tremendous this season, one of the most efficient players we have in the game of basketball, turning and facing, using that quickness to beat the UVA defender off the dribble.
And that basket, as Virginia turns it over, gives NC State its first lead in the 3 games against UVA this year. Lost by 15 at home, 29 on the road, held to 61 points in each game. Now, Will Wade has admitted it. This wasn't close. And he said yesterday when he was asked about the Virginia game, he said, I'm trying to enjoy today's win. Why do you have to talk about that? He's been very self-deprecating. But he's changing some things up today, and he gets a foul here against Grunlow on the drive by Lubin. This is a critical matchup today. Johan Grunlow blocked 8 NC State shots in the last meeting.
You got to attack the body there and absorb the contact. Good job by Lubin. But you're thinking about a UVA team that ranks 6th nationally with their blocks per game. Elite rim protection between Grunlow and Oniso. Their ability to protect the rim and change shots at the rim.
Van Allen Lubin, a career best 8 for 8 from the free throw line yesterday. It's his first. Lubin playing for his 4th school in 4 years, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, North Carolina, and now the rare transfer from UNC to NC State, averaging 14 and 7 on the year. And Lubin has the game's first 4.
Really has a nice touch around the rim and a great feel. 18 points yesterday versus Pitt. Got to continue to attack the bigs of UVA.
Virginia was the 6th most efficient offense in the ACC this year. A lot of players who can step out and shoot 3. Testa Ritter is one. In fact, all 9 rotation players can really make a 3. And DeRitter, their leading scorer, gets the Cavs on the board.
Talk about not your father's UVA team. 3-point attempt rate, usually around 250th with Tony Bennett. Now 35th in the country. They get him up, and they get him up in a hurry.
Shoot nearly 29 a game. Williams into the paint. Lubin fouled again. That's 2 on Grunlow, who again had 8 blocks in the last meeting and has to check out not 3 minutes into the game.
And NC State is one of the best in the ACC at attacking matchups. Darren Williams starts to punish the smaller defender in Thomas and finds Allen Lubin. Good job by Lubin utilizing a head fake again to draw the 2nd foul on Grunlow.
For more on Van Allen Lubin, let's go to Taylor.
Guys, after their 29-point loss to the Hoos in February, Will Wade held nothing back at the podium. He said post-game, we're not ready to compete with the top of the league. That's just a fact. they're better than us, and the players heard it. They know they have a chance to right the ship, and when I talked to Ben Allen Lubin yesterday, he spoke about toughness. That's the key today. Not just physically, he knows it's going to be physical, but mentally, Lubin added, today is about a clean slate. Those losses can't be in their heads if they want to change this narrative today.
And because physically, you're right, Taylor, it's 6'8" against 7-foot Grunlow, 7-foot Onyensu, DeRitter at 6'9". This is, though, Jay, a perfect start because Lubin has the game's first 6 points against this front line.
Well, if you're undersized, you have to be tactical in your approach. That's why you have to utilize ball fakes and head fakes and try to crack into those bigs if you get them off the ground.
Ogata Onyensu, who's a tremendous big man off the bench, one of the nation's best shot blockers, is in. Hall somehow didn't end up the carry, maybe because he lost possession. Lewis into Hall, out to DeRitter, same spot he hit. This one knocked around, and it's down to Lubin. Darian Williams. Lubin again, going out on Onyensu. That's a shot altered by Onyensu, who's got the second best block rate in the country. Williams will be whistled for a foul here at a hard charging DeRitter drive. It's interesting. It's early, but NC State hasn't taken a three. And against a team that blocked 13 shots last meeting, they're going at them.
Well, I think you have to be methodical in your approach for NC State. And I will say this as a guy that's competed in this tournament multiple times. You know, when you get that double bye, it takes a while to settle into the game. And oftentimes, if you're NC State, you want to attack and punch them early because you've had the repetition. You played here yesterday. You found your rhythm offensively. You played in this gym before. So I think you're seeing NC State try to come out and swing early to get their bigs in foul trouble.
How'd the noon game feel?
It was just always weird. I mean, you're so used to playing games at 7 or 9 p.m., and then all of a sudden to play a game in the middle of the day. It just takes a minute to get the juices flowing and to actually get that lather defensively and offensively.
DeRitter hits both, so it's Lubin 6, DeRitter 5. Jakari White and Chance Mallory are off the bench for Virginia, two of the best bench players in the league. Copeland fighting through a couple of defenders, meets the resistance of Onyensu, and Williams is there for a three.
So much of the offensive production for NC State comes from Copeland getting into the middle of that paint area and being either a scorer or a distributor. And if you clutch down on him, NC State shooters, all their hands are ready on the perimeter to knock down those catch and shoot threes.
Well, NC State came to play. Couple of early jabs for a team that got waylaid by Virginia in the first two meetings. The Pack by 4. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Good start for NC State, which just got its first three from Darian Williams.
Bardier Copeland yesterday accounted for 46 points. Watch off this screen here. So good at reading these high PNRs. Let it play out. You're going to see the screen come. Freeze it. He gets in this gap right here. You're going to see him snake it. Gets right in that gap. Let it play. And as he gets into that gap, you're going to see the defense contract. Freeze it again. 1. You're going to see multiple defenders here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Darren Williams right here in the corner with his hands ready to shoot. Look at those hands ready to shoot. Be a catch and shoot receiver. Knocks down the 3. So good at making reads either at the rim or kicking out the shooters on the perimeter for Bardier Copeland.
24 points and 8 assists yesterday. Was a dynamic playmaker in a game where NC State hit 13 threes, tied for their most ever in an ACC tournament game. Virginia's best three-point shooter is Jakari White. He'll step back on Williams, put up a tough one. It's an air ball.
You're NC State, that's the shot you want. You want contested threes. That's typically what UVA has done to NC State. They forced them to take a lot of contested twos, contested threes, not getting open looks. You got to stay down and stay disciplined in your stance if you're the Wolfpack.
First substitute is Matt Abel with the ball right here, a dynamic freshman who had 12 points in 15 minutes yesterday. Williams, the ACC preseason player of the year, has had an up-and-down season, feeds Copeland. Onyensu cuts him off. Copeland back from McNeil. Has to put it up, and he airballs it. A shot clock violation on the other end.
Great job by the Ritter staying disciplined, not biting for the ball fake. Radir Copeland shooting 40% from the three-point line, but he wants to drive first.
UVA 1 for 5 from the field, 2 turnovers to start. Not a great offensive team in conference play. They're only 12th in field goal percentage. Onyenso inside, kind of an awkward finish with a much smaller McNeil guarding the basket.
Great job by McNeil rotating over from the weak side with urgency to get there and recover.
Devin Tillis, 9th man in the game for Virginia, the senior wearing number 11. Cavaliers in depth early.
Have to attack this matchup. That's what you want, that size discrepancy.
Williams on the 5'10 Mallory. Inside Lubin. What a feed.
UVA is going to switch. NC State's going to pick them apart with those matchups.
Here's White in transition at 3. Jakari White shooting it at 43% from deep.
Finished second in the ACC, 6th man of the year, voting behind Malik Brown. UVA's best three-point shooter. NC State cannot lose him in transition.
Copeland into Lubin. Tough catch for A-Ball. Bounces it back into Williams. Around a Lubin screen, Williams works. Williams, too strong. Down to San Luis. 6'7" Toledo transfer, whose season high was 23 at NC State. Such a balanced scoring team. Mallory ties it with a triple. Charlottesville kid, Chance Mallory out of St. Anne's Belfield, right down the road from UVA's grounds. Here's McNeil, got a little chip screen from Copeland to set him free. 2 for 2 for 3 for NC State. Virginia is 3 for 5 from deep. Lewis against McNeil. Way short. Lubin's got another rebound. Look at the NC State bench today. They know how hard it is to work on the glass against Virginia, and they haven't allowed an offensive rebound yet.
You saw 4 jerseys, and everybody was boxing out. Nobody was staring at the fly of the ball. You got to do the gritty, dirty work.
Copeland somehow found McNeil. Around it out for 3. Great energy, great pace to this game early as Onyenso finishes over the top from Tillis.
Onyenso just put his head down and out-sprinted Lubin down the court. He's done it multiple times. First time he was a recipient of a pass.
A foul against White up in the grill of McNeil. First on Jakari White.
You know, when we got a chance to talk to Will Wade before the game, as you're going to see them just crash the board and just play through. Darren Williams ran out and Lubin with a strong finish. But Will Wade wasn't really worried about the first 10 minutes of the first half. It was more about the cumulative effect. And he said, UVA beats you, it's death by 1,000 cuts. And it's typically their ability to hold on after their starts that have been difficult for the Wolfpack in their 2 series meetings.
Go to the bench for the first time for the bigs. Moussa Sanye, Terrence Arsenault. Copeland gets a breather. Abel shuffling it inside.
Oh my goodness.
Shows up a left-handed shot.
I said this yesterday, Matt Abel will be featured in every Breakout Sophomore article coming out this offseason.
And he just broke out there. Got ripped from behind by Tillis off the steal. NC State has come out with fight and fire. And an early 3-point lead against the 2nd seed in the league. Three-point lead for NC State, the 7th seed over the 2 in our first quarterfinal. Paul McNeil is fouled on a drive. Virginia has returned Johan Grunlo to the game with 2 early fouls. And McNeil will get a couple of free throws for the Wolfpack here. That's Malik Thomas picks up his first.
When a player comes back into the game with 11:44, who's an instrumental part to their front court with 2 fouls, You have to be relentless on your attack with him. You have to continue to challenge him at the rim and try to draw that third foul. Obviously, Brunlo, one of the best in the conference at blocking shots per game and altering shots at the rim as well. To get him off the court would be a major victory for NC State with 11:44 to go in the first half.
McNeil had 22 in the game in Charlottesville, with 7 for 7 at the line. He's 2 for 2 here. NC State with a 5-point lead. 76-61 Virginia in Raleigh, 90-61 Virginia in Charlottesville. Neither of these regular season games were really close. That 15-point score in Raleigh, you had that game, Jake, flattered the Wolfpack a bit. Virginia led by as much as 27 in that game.
And NC State made a run late to try to, make that even in Raleigh, but it just felt as if you're watching a team that knew who they were, understood their identity in UVA, and that ball moved around. It was so crisp. And when their offense is humming, they're one of the best in the conference and one of the best in the nation.
Hall in the corner in trouble. McNeil played free safety, but Thomas ends up with the ball and scores with a slap on the wrist. The foul, the second on Darian Williams to boot.
You're going to see Thomas has turned this corner right here. And Darian Williams, sure enough, catches him right on that guide hand. And great concentration to finish it for that and one opportunity. Just a natural score. Thomas, 1,500 career points. Led the WCC in scoring last season at 19.9 for a 25-win season. And just gives him such a dynamic score as well.
Taylor?
I asked Coach Odom how they've challenged Thomas in Charlottesville. He said they've challenged him to make plays for others and to defend and rebound because, like you guys were just talking about, he's a natural scorer and he has throughout his entire career. So when you come to a place like Virginia and you're back at the highest level, that can lead to some bumps along the way when you're no longer that top dog. But Coach is so proud of how Thomas has handled the season. He has sacrificed. That's the key word, and it's helped the Hoos win all year.
First 2 years, Taylor at USC, 2 at San Francisco, and he's fit a rotation of great pieces. The rejection against Sagne went right down to Abel. Matt Abel with a couple of buckets off the bench.
It's about the 4th or 5th time where you've seen UVA just get beat off the dribble. Giving up a lot of angles on these drives, just not staying down and disciplined.
DeRitter backing down Abel, the freshman. Swings it over to Thomas. Thomas at 2. Rebound Copeland. Virginia still does not have an offensive rebound in the game, and UVA is one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. Terrence Arsenault into DeRitter. That's a really tough shot, or is it?
See him right here, Trey Holloman, number 5, played at Michigan State. One of the best in the ACC at applying constant ball pressure, trying to make life difficult for White to bring the ball up the court.
Brunlo's off the floor again on Yenso in. Knocked away from DeRitter and picked up by Copeland. Down to Sagne. It's not who you want running the floor.
Just a poor decision there by Copeland.
White will squeeze it home.
Those are the possessions that hurt you. As UVA can counter, you don't want to give the ball up to your big to have him make decisions in transition. If anything, if you're Copeland, pull the ball back out and get a good offensive possession.
Copeland goes freewheeling into Thomas and got tripped up. That's the 6th foul of the half on UVA. It's on Dallin Hall.
Arsenault, a guy they've been trying to get going offensively here, played in the national final with Houston last season, and then White off that careless turnover by Copeland, giving up to his big, is being able to convert on the offensive end.
White,
and yes, I put that turnover on Copeland.
Yeah.
Right, because as a guard, as a lead guard, I don't want to put my big in that position. I have to be smarter than that.
That's a rarity for NC State, which is one of the best turnover teams in the country. Arsenault, Brunlo with the 2 fouls, did well to avoid a 3rd. Thomas into Lubin. Tough turnaround is good. Virginia has made 6 of 8 after a 1-for-6 start. It's within 2.
Thomas is built like a running back, isn't he?
6'5", 215. couple of those guards in this game and in this day of basketball here. Lubin for Abel. Baseline, bounce, Lubin, denied by Onyenso. Here's Mallory running the floor. Hall, Onyenso! Virginia, with a 6-0 spurt of its own, has tied it at 22. Holloman.
Just no fluidity right now for NC State. Defense just looks very stagnant.
Another prayer is answered as Copeland banks it in. It's a high degree of difficulty shots for NC State here. Abel commits his first foul.
Well, Onyenso does a really good job getting the deflection there defensively and then running the floor. You see they turn the corner, the shot gets tipped here, and Onyenso doesn't quit on it, and it finishes the play. This is how UVA likes to play. They like getting stops on the defensive end and then converting offensively. And NC State, like I said, positional size and matchups in ISO. Copeland, one of the best at recognizing that and taking advantage of it.
First points for Copeland after 24 yesterday. DeRitter out of a double. UVA throws it away with Lewis. That's 5 turnovers already committed by Virginia. Will Wade's team has not trailed early in what's been a season of electricity on and off the court for NC State.
I want to be very clear. This is not a rebuild. We're going to be in the top part of the ACC next year, and we're going to the NCAA tournament. This is not something that's going to take a whole lot of time. It's tough. We got a lot of nice guys. Got great team GPA, over 3.0. It's wonderful. We're running a daycare. You know, I'm tired of hearing about frickin' Darian. So everybody needs to shut the hell up about him. He's a damn good player.
That segment could have been 30 minutes long, the best of Will Wade's press conferences this year. It's Will and Mick Cronin in the finals of the Ultimate Press Conference Coach, but undeniable the job he's done. Ryan Odom, Jay Lucas coming up on our next game. The ACC got a whole lot better this year, Jay, in large part because they got some great coaches in the league.
Yeah, and both coaches have established their culture very quickly, and that's not an easy thing to do. Even you got to give Luke Locks a lot of credit over at Florida State as well. You know, building an identity and then sticking with that identity, even when you go through hard times, is a sign of a team that has a chance for a long runway.
Copeland turns it over. After it really, as disappointing years the ACC's ever had last year, only one team won a tournament game. That was Duke, who, of course, made it to the Final Four. They invested in the program, invested in NIL, invested in new coaches.
It's a bad shot.
7+ bid lead. Now that's a miss by Holloman.
Well, it's a 1-on-4. And you don't need an empty possession right now if you're NC State.
Onyenso into Lubin. Couldn't get anywhere. Dallin Hall with 3 assists early. Couldn't pick up a 4th. Onyenso is fouled. Selection Sunday is coming up in just 3 days. 6 Eastern, Sports Center. A look at the field at 68 as the brackets are announced. Bracketology is after that. Then the NCAA Women's Selection Special and a breakdown of that tournament. 8 and 9 Eastern, ESPN and the ESPN app. That foul was on Darian Williams, who had just checked into the game a minute ago and now leaves with a 3rd foul. So a gamble by Will Wade really burns him as Virginia takes its first lead on a Sam Lewis 3.
Lewis averaging around 20 points on 65% shooting versus NC State this season, and the entire coaching staff for NC State stood up there because there was miscommunication when they lost Lewis off a little pin down.
And that is, of course, because NC State hadn't led at home or away, the first lead change of the season series. Arsenault is fouled here. That's the 7th against Virginia, so free throw coming up. 2-shot foul.
You're going to see Lewis right there at the bottom. It's a little screen up, and just Copeland loses contact with him. Now, you got to stay up on a shooter like that, a guy that's one of their best 3-point shooters and scorers. You have to stay attached to your man defensively and communicate, and that's what Will Wade talked about. Defensive execution and attention to detail. They always started off games well, but they lost concentration as the game went on in each of their 2 losses.
First missed free throw of the game for the Wolfpack at Arsenal. DeRitter picked up his first foul, and he'll leave the game along with Mallory. White is back on the floor. Tillis as well. Terrence Arsenault played on a Houston team that made it to the national title game last year. And he goes 1 for 2 to tie the score. So to your point, Jay, this is that critical stretch for NC State. Closing stretch of the half. Can they avoid falling into a big hole? They haven't been able to do it in the first 2 meetings.
And you have to continue the defensive rebound. Talk about a UVA team that is 10th nationally in second chance points, around 15 per game. 0 thus far in the first half.
Hall, a smooth operator for Virginia. The BYU transfer into Onyenso. Did he get it up in time? He did. Tillis fights for the ball, and it's out of bounds to NC State. So Virginia is still without an offensive rebound.
If you're going to lack size, coaches call this gang rebounding. You need 5 red jerseys all in the paint, boxing out, scraping down on the ball, trying to carve out space to gather that defensive rebound.
Holloman, a Michigan State transfer. Rejected by Onyenso. Off his teammate. It'll stay with State. Onyenso with his second block.
When you have a guy like Onyenso behind you, it allows you to put so much more pressure on the ball. And this is what guards do. This is what White does. You go underneath, and as Holloman's trying to pay attention to where White is, Onyenso's coming up from the weak side for the block.
He was the 3rd place finisher for ACC Defensive Player of the Year on the all-defensive team. It's his 21st game of multiple blocks. He might have another one here on Arsenault. Lewis, a pull-up 3. It's good! Will Wade, timeout. He has felt this before. A flood of orange and blue heading downhill, and Virginia has taken the lead.
Sam Lewis, one of the elite scorers for UVA, very good at cutting his shot in transition. Last year blew up as a sophomore for Toledo. Onyenso with the block, and recovering with your hands up is critical. If you keep dropping back, Lewis is a rhythm shooter. And like we said earlier, this is not your father's UVA team. They let it fly from the 3-point line, and they let it fly in a hurry.
Is that what you're looking at as the score coming down, where the defender's hands are?
Well, also, I'm looking at your feet. You know, typically you want to get back and protect the rim. So if I'm an elite 3-point shooter, if you're dropping back too far, Ryan Odom has given his players the green light to shoot the ball from the 3-point line in transition.
Got a whistle here by Jamel Spearman. I'm not sure the shot clock started.
I mean, you made a lot of transition threes in your career. What did you look for?
Yeah, definitely. Let me think of the one I made. My dad was the coach going, no, 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 no. Jamel Spearman will figure out what the shot clock should be. I guess it's probably 28. He whistled it dead pretty quickly. 29. Abel almost fell over the end line there. Neither clock started, neither the game nor shot.
2.5, 3.
A 12-3 Virginia run from down 6 to up 3. Cavaliers trying to get to 28 and 4. Abel passed up a look from 3, and then you can't take it in on Onyenso right now. Just his presence is altering everything. Almost had his presence destroy the rim there. A little too tall from White.
If you're going to attack that paint on Onyenso, you got to attack it with a high floater.
What a feed by Copeland, and Lubin is in the double figures.
And Lubin's so good at when he catches the ball, the first thing he does is he gives a realistic ball fake. And he watches if Onyenso bites, and he tries to stay patient.
Copeland flies by Mallory, and a rebound secured by Quadir. Under 5 to play in a fabulous first half. NC State by a point. Winner of this game gets Miami or Louisville in the semis.
Open and telling everybody to clear out. This is what they do. They attack those matchups.
Mallory took a hit.
We'll give it right back to him.
Abel, rise and fire. Rebound Tillis. Great minutes as usual from Virginia's bench. Lewis. Slow down from Quadir Copeland, senior point guard, in his second year with Will Wade. Spins around, no! Couldn't get the right level of English on it. Like a whirling top off the rim, and then Matt Abel gives Virginia a taste of its own medicine. Whew. Virginia by 1. Back and forth we go to start this quarterfinal day. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let our expertise round out yours.
Welcome back to Charlotte. Coming up on the Sargento halftime report, thoughts and analysis on what you guys are covering here in the opening 20 minutes, plus undefeated Miami in action in the Mid-American Conference title hunt in Cleveland, when Luke Hancock and Dennis Scott join me. And Kevin, as you know, Luke's latest award, he was the winner of the shootout with 3D and Jay Will on Monday on the Spectrum Center floor.
He was indeed.
Wes, that shootout never happened. I don't think it happened, nor do I remember 3D remembering it happened. That's to my recollection.
I think Taylor Tannenbaum might have some video of that occurrence.
Taylor, do not show that video. It is embarrassing for me.
I can confirm that Luke's shot did go in. I can't say it was a long contest, but it did go in.
Come on, T. Whose side are you on?
I only tell the truth.
Taylor, truth teller Tannenbaum, our reporter today. Here's Lewis. He said a couple from 3. That one wouldn't go. Nice rebound by Arsenault.
If you're NC State, you don't want this game to be a track meet. UVA has hit 9 fast break points, and they've made 5 3-point shots in this first half, which has been keeping them in this game, giving them a 1-point lead.
It's interesting because there are a lot of games where NC State does like being in a track meet. McNeil with a deep 2. Paul McNeil with 7, and State's on top. Dallin Hall, no points but 3 assists. Such a great floor general. Assist to turnover 3.3 to 1. He and Mallory share the floor together, and Mallory clanks a 3.
McNeil doing it in a variety of ways. Obviously one of the elite catch and shoot players in the ACC, but showing you a little bit of his offensive repertoire right there with a little sidestep and a knockdown midi.
Now, Will Wade early in the season said, I got to give Kevin Keats a lot of credit and his staff. They did a great job bringing Paul McNeil along last year. He averaged 11 a game in their final 8 games. He had barely played most of the season, just a 4-point per game player. Abel strokes it from deep. Boy, that kid can really shoot too. You may have just seen the 2 pillars of next year's NC State team, McNeil and Abel.
A lot of people talk about how talented this freshman class is. And Matt Abel was Will Wade's first recruit at NC State, originally committed at Miami, but chose the Wolfpack instead.
7 straight for the Pack. That's ended by a high-pointed layup from Hall. Into the final 2 minutes of a terrific first half.
When you think about a guy like Matt Abel, probably the most prized recruit NC State has had since Dennis Smith Jr.
That's a decade ago. Copeland on the cross. For McNeil, that's a tough pass. 3rd turnover for Copeland.
I'll get back for transition 3s.
Lewis. DeRitter. He's arguing that Copeland was holding his right arm, and it's not called, but Will Wade came out to talk to Copeland anyway.
I mean, Copeland tried to meet him early. He's fighting for his life right there. The Ritter actually has him hooked. That's a better move, though. Look, you got the defensive player hooked, but you yell, hey, give me the call, ref.
No pass interference on either side. Play on 2nd and 10. McNeil, 3. Lubin crashing. It's deflected to Dallin Hall. NC State has led most of the half. Onyenso too strong on a 3. Offensive rebound for Lewis, and he fumbled it.
You just don't like the shot of your UVA. Testa Ritter literally had McNeil pinned down on the baseline on the mismatch. And you got to make it a priority to give him the ball. Onyenso with ill-advised transition 3. And even if he could make that, if you have that height advantage, you got to take advantage of that on the block.
He's only hit 9 on the year. Copeland will check out with 1:02 to go in the half.
So it's the 5th or 6th time that McNeil has tagged the Ritter in transition, and UVA has not found the mismatch.
Holloman. Abel off a screen from Lubin. In and out. Virginia still has a timeout. You use it or lose it one. Ryan Odom won't call one yet.
Well, they're telling him to go to try to see if they can get a 2-for-1.
Fumbled by Lewis. DeRitter in the corner for 3. Didn't get the 2-for-1, but they got the 3 for Tess. NC State has used its first half timeout. Holloman gets it across the line. No Copeland or Williams on the floor for this final possession. Lubin. Onyenso with 3 blocks already. Picks up a 4th. Hall's heave will be wide right.
How patient is Onyenso? I am so impressed with him not fighting for the first ball fake. Staying down, being patient. Waiting for that ball to leave the fingertips of Lubin and having the quick twitch fibers to get up there fast and block the shot. Multiple games this season with 4+ blocks.
4 blocks for Onyenso already. Let's go to Taylor with Ryan Odom.
You guys have the lead after going 1 for 6 to start the game. What shifted?
What I didn't hear.
What shifted after starting 1 for 6 in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just started playing better defense. We started contesting better, a little bit better. The rebounding, we were able to get out and run. We're still making too many turnovers, throwing the ball out of bounds multiple times. But they're really good at turning you over. They've done that all season. We've just got to be better with the basketball.
Who will you challenge in that locker room halftime to come out here in the second and take control?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of them, to be honest. I mean, that's how we've done it all year. This is a connected group. We have tremendous depth. They just have to step up and play their roles.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Guys.
Taylor, thank you. NC State led most of the half. Virginia leads at the half. 33-32. The 2nd-seeded Cavaliers over the 7th-seeded Wolfpack. Wes Durham, take it away.
All right, Kevin, thanks very much. Welcome to the Sargento halftime report at Spectrum Center in Charlotte in Game 1 of our quarterfinal Thursday here in the Queen City, and it is Virginia who has got a 33-32 lead. We welcome you here to our end of the building, if you will. Great to be with the national champion Luke Hancock and the ACC legend Dennis Scott, West Durham. So, opening 20 minutes, Ryan Odom said surviving that 1 for 6 start. The record will say 40%. I measure that as after they had the tough start, they shot almost 50% from the floor, Luke.
Yeah, I think their defense kind of fueled their offense. I agree with what Coach Odom said. You stop turning the basketball over, especially with some silly turnovers, and your offense looks more efficient. I thought Sam Lewis was a real catalyst for them finding opportunities out there from three-point line.
And watching NC State all year long, when they make shots early, deflections, defense. I know Darren Williams got in foul trouble because he's being aggressive.
Yep.
That's one thing we've understood about NC State. If they can make shots and Copeland gets into the paint, you and I talked about before the game, make him a scorer. No, he's facilitating. That's why he's knocked down so many threes early in this ball game.
For a guy who typically doesn't score very much for the Cavaliers, Onyenso is a problem. Really at defensive end, but maybe at the offensive end too, guys.
Oh, Luke and I was just talking about defensively, I love everything he's doing. That 1-3, we were like, oh, hey, what's going on here?
Too early in the shot
clock. We both said, we understand what Coach Mike Young was saying the other night. What am I doing? Because he got so hot late in the game.
Yeah, I like him in the paint blocking shots. 4 block shots. Countless shots changed down there, though, for big fella.
All right, so Virginia 1-point lead.
This halftime report is presented by Sargento Natural American Cheese.
Yep, NC State trailing Virginia by a bucket. Vin Allen Lubin.
Feed the big fella. He's down low eating.
This halftime report is presented by Sargento Natural American Cheese.
Wahoo's got a 1-point lead on NC State. Second half coming up. Don't forget, ACC Network following the quarterfinal Thursday play. Nothing but net tonight. Luke Hancock, Joel Berry, Jim Boeheim, Taylor Tannenbaum, all gathered around to update you on today's action. They say Cleveland rocks. 85-82, 9 seconds to go. UMass a 3-point lead, fellas.
Oh my goodness.
Some bubble teams.
Yeah, won't like that.
Bubble teams are thinking, oh no. March never sleeps.
Handle your business.
Tell you the truth. Virginia, the 1-point lead. Sam Lewis, a couple of big threes impacting the ball game in transition. Cavaliers trying to be the first of the top 4 seeds to advance to the semifinals coming up. This has been the Sargento Halftime Report.
You're watching ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. Welcome back to the T. Rowe Price ACC Men's Basketball Tournament. 1-point lead for the Virginia Cavaliers, the first of our 4 quarterfinals today in Charlotte, 33-32 over NC State. Kevin Brown,
what up,
Williams.
Sorry, AI just came into this. Can you pan the AI?
Hey, Allen Iverson's here.
Just pan the AI so you can see AI. What's up, legend? You good?
You have
Sorry,
a
man.
plan on TV, and then Allen Iverson comes, and it just gets thrown out the window.
And there goes the halftime.
Anyway, it was a great first half. NC State, which had not led against Virginia in the first 2 games, led most of the half, but a good surge by UVA late.
Well, I think NC State did a really good job keeping UVA off the offensive glass. 0 second chance points for UVA. And as we said earlier, this is a team that ranked 10th in the nation, averaging around 14.5 second chance points per game. So they're doing a good job defensively. It's got to get UVA off the 3-point line. But UVA is a team that just understands who they are, and they still have a 1-point lead, and they didn't play well in the first half.
Well, NC State had the answer in the second half. Okay, today's experts at work, brought to you by Principal. What do you want me to do? It's Allen Iverson.
Looking for the first half, Vin Allen Lubin just did such a good job in this ball game with 10 points, attacking at the rim, utilizing ball fakes to get the bigs for UVA off the ground. And then the equalizer for UVA has been their ability to make 3-point shots, shooting 50% by 6 made threes in the first half. Tesseritter knocking down 2, Sam Lewis knocking down 1, and then Chance Mallory knocking down another as well. Their ability to continue to make shots and then finding their offensive rhythm will be imperative in the second half.
Virginia team that makes the second most threes per game of the ACC. There he is.
I almost said will be the answer in the second half, but you already utilized it twice, so I didn't want to overdo it.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, Jay. NC State with the ball to start. Darian Williams back on the floor after 3 first-half fouls, and this is a foul on Dallin Hall as we check in with Taylor Tannenbaum.
Talked to a pretty optimistic and positive Will Wade coming out. He said, we've played pretty well thus far, just lost a little bit of steam there at the end of the half. He wants them to clean up their finishing and the loose balls. Virginia had 6 points off loose balls in the first half. As for that guy, Quarterfinals Copeland, he says he has to make better decisions. Gotta quit the internal passes, kick it out.
No question, Taylor. Quarterfinals Copeland, 3 turnovers in the first half. That's a good decision. He just picked up Grunlow's 3rd foul.
You talk about how imperative Quarterfinals Copeland is to this team. Yesterday he accounted for 46 points or assists. Great read right there. Grunlow thought he was going to set a screen. He just slipped it. The paint was open, and once again, attacking the bigs, keeping them on their heels and getting them in foul trouble.
Grunlow only played 3 minutes, 43 seconds in the first half. He'll remain in the game with the 3. Ugana Onyenso averages a little under 18 minutes a game on the year. He played 16 minutes in that first half, and he has just taken off his warm-up top. And Onyenso is going to come right back in this game 24 seconds in.
Well, he's now had 4 more blocks in 10 contests already this game with 4 blocks. 80 blocks on the season ranks him 6th in UVA single season history.
And that's playing, by the way, less than 18 minutes a game.
Unbelievable. He doesn't even account for all the shots he alters at the rim.
Into DeRitter, leading scorer for Virginia, had 8 in the first half.
Give it back to him.
On Williams, who's got 3 fouls. Lubin comes over for the double. Swung to Hall. Kick to Lewis. In the air. In the hoop for 3. All started out of a double against DeRitter. Sam Lewis with his 3rd three-pointer. Here's Williams. He's all alone. He cannot answer. Malik Thomas for UVA. A 3 is good. Boy, they can come at you quickly from deep. Virginia now with 8 threes in the game and its largest lead at 5.
Just a second-hand transition ball screen, a drag screen. And he redirected the screen and nobody got up on the weak side to help.
Copeland for McNeil. Steps back. Buries it. All McNeil with 10 points today. Had 15 yesterday. Very efficient in this tournament. 39-37. 2 minutes into the half, a 2-point lead. Now Thomas with a lot of space. Off the mark. Holloman's got the rebound. Rare opportunity to run for NC State. Not quite. McNeil's able to get it back. McNeil's open. Holloman found him. NC State leads again.
Great recognition by Holloman. Onyenso had to take McNeil in transition. Stayed as his primary defender. Holloman drove, reverse pivoted, and kicked out to McNeil, who replaced and relocated for a wide open 3.
Onyenso against Copeland. Looking to pass. Copeland pokes it away. And Williams crashes into Thomas. That's going to stay with Virginia with 13 to shoot.
Well, a guy like Tess DeRitter, averaging around 2 assists throughout the course of the season, sees the double team, and that's when there's a skip pass. Great rotation to Lewis for a knockdown 3. And then Holloman, like I said before, understands that Onyenso is on McNeil. McNeil rotates up, makes himself available, high IQ, gets himself a wide open 3.
This is pretty high level stuff between State and Virginia. 2 tournament teams. NC State around the last 4 buys, according to Joe Lenardi. Virginia, a projected 4 seed. 13 in the net.
Just a lazy pass there.
And Thomas will stuff it.
And Darren Williams didn't want to get back because he has his 3rd foul. Just let him go.
Thomas with 10.
Got to be sharp with the ball if you're NC State. UVA is extremely active and they get a ton of deflections.
McNeil for Lubin to the basket. Squished it off the iron. Here comes Lewis. Here's DeRitter. He gets hit hard by McNeil and will shoot a pair.
Well, Malik Thomas here playing actively in the passing lanes, but just those are the unforced errors. If you're Will Wade that you don't want, just a lazy pass over the top, and Thomas just active, saw it, read it, and finished it.
4 turnovers for Copeland. Taylor mentioned Will Wade had talked about Copeland needing to make better decisions. That won't qualify.
This game will test your mental conditioning. And a guy like Quadir Copeland played the majority of the game yesterday against Pitt, back-to-back games where you play a lot of minutes, but decision-making when you're tired is important for NC State to have a chance to win this game or stay in it.
How do you work through that block?
Well, you can play fast, but you have to think slow, and that comes with experience, and that comes with all the work you've done throughout the course of the regular season. All leads to these moments. These are about having good habits.
1 for 2 for DeRitter. Virginia by 2. White and Mallory have come off the bench. Here's Williams against Mallory. Got the switch they wanted. Much smaller Mallory holds up well, and then Onyensu smokes it into the front row.
They've done it multiple times. Even when NC State finds the matchup they want, if it's a smaller guard, they try to stay under you. They force your attention on them. And Onyensu has come from the multiple times in this game from the weak side for those big-time blocks.
He had a great quote early in the year. He said to his teammates, if you feel like they're beating you toward the rim, let them come. McNeil breaks a 3. Onyensu has got his 5th rebound.
How about this? He said, I love the fear in their eyes when opposing players see me down there.
Here he is. Fear this. 6 points, 5 rebounds, 5 stuffs for Onyensu, playing an uncommon amount of minutes. Copeland. And a reach-in foul. 44-40 Virginia. Up 1 at the half, up 3 early in the seconds. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let our expertise round out yours.
Zubin Mehenti here in the studio. The biggest moment in college basketball today, by far. Miami of Ohio dropping their first game of the season. This is Daniel Hankins Sanford as UMass knocks off the Redhawks in the quarterfinals of the Mid-American Tournament. I know what you're thinking. What does it mean for Miami of Ohio? Lenardi says they're still in, but this loss bumps Auburn out. And guys, how ironic is that considering the chatter between those two programs lately?
Oh, I wonder if Bruce Pearl's watching right now, Zubin. That's the tournament resume. Net is okay. Straight the schedule is obviously brutal. The wins above bubble is a new results-based metric. Been used the last 2 years as Lubin is fouled. The wins above bubble is very good. That will get worse after the loss today. However, we both agree Miami should still be in the field.
Yeah, I think they're going to Dayton. I think they'll be in Dayton, and I think that's okay. It's hard for me to not reward how incredible of a season that they have. And the reality is now we're talking about splitting hairs and a lot of teams that have a lot of bad losses or losses in general. And I think Miami of Ohio deserves to be in the NCAA tournament. And it's one of the best stories we have in college basketball.
One loss. Look, they could have played Eastern Michigan 33 times. Like, they have one loss. They should be in, especially with this bubble. There's some data to support. Evan Miyakawa, who's a terrific basketball writer and analytics guy, said this. There's data that says this is the worst bubble we've ever had. I mean, we're talking about 17 and 16 teams potentially getting in. It shouldn't be a question. Miami should be in the field. And frankly, if the MAC gets 2 teams, that knocks out a bubble team that doesn't have a great resume. It is bad news, though, for SMU here in the ACC, who lost yesterday, as Joe has them right on the cut line. Jakari White makes it a 4-point Virginia lead. NC State, we think, has a little breathing room. They're the 7th to last team above the cut line right now. Obviously, a win here would fully secure it. Williams, boy, they got to get him going. It's just his 5th shot, and it's his 2nd 3.
If Darian Williams is going to go out, he has to go out swinging. A guy that led Texas Tech to the Elite 8 last year, averaging 21 points, only with 4 shots in this game. Now, I know he's in foul trouble, but he has to be aggressive down the stretch.
Foul on Lubin against Mallory.
And Quadir Copeland once again so good at a little penetration and kick and a good rotation there by McNeil. Darian Williams, the guy that has to get going offensively. He's become more of a catch and shoot player, but still can utilize that size to attack the rim and get to the free throw line.
It's been a season of real fits and starts for him. 7 games of 20, 10 games in single digits. For a guy who was between NC State and Kansas as the big prize out of the transfer portal. Has that postseason experience, though. Mallory wouldn't go. You know, look at this NC State team. Trey Holloman was in the Elite 8 last year at Michigan State. Williams in the Elite 8 at Texas Tech. Copeland won a tourney game at McEast with Will Wade. Like, there's Terrence Arsenault is in the Final Four. There's big game experience all over this roster.
Individual experience doesn't mean that always translates into team chemistry.
That has been the struggle for Will Wade this year, hence the 12 losses. Arsenault a deep 2, Clank, rebound to Tillis.
Oh my God, was a clank.
You don't think so?
I mean, hit the front of the rim.
Not worthy of being a clank? And yet so, double team. Copeland strips and is called for a foul. That'll be his first of the game. 3.5 for NC State.
Copeland had the right idea. Aniento started to post up. He came from that little back end. Just didn't need to swipe down as hard on the ball. If anything, when you're trying to get steals like that, rake up, not down.
Grunlow is back in there for Virginia with 3 fouls. Grunlow with Hall and Mallory, White and Tillis. Grunlow knocked away by Copeland, but he recovers and he scores his first 2 points. Now, he should certainly be fresh for the stretch run, having only played 4 minutes.
You need him in the game down the stretch as well. Aniento blocks out the sun, but Grunlow also 3rd in the ACC in blocks.
Copeland trying to get a seal from Lubin. Grunlow is in there to help make that a difficult shot. And he catches on the run and then finishes.
This is what you love about the bigs for UVA. Not only do they block shots at the rim at a high rate, they sprint down the floor and they become recipients who are available to catch the ball in transition and finish at the rim.
Williams to Abel. Abel's out of bounds.
As I said, Grunlow before, 3rd in ACC in blocks, a rare combination of 73 blocks and 21 made threes, how he can shoot from the perimeter, but sprints the floor. Mallory finds him. Big time finish at the rim.
20 years old, who played top in the top German league, the basketball Bundesliga for 2 years. He was teammates with the former Virginia player Jaden Gardner there. Flipped inside to Mallory, out for Tillis. Tillis on the bounce, Hall on the reverse. Largest lead for Virginia.
You said this game would come down to the cumulative effect for UVA. They're a team, they beat you by 1,000 cuts. You can't remain disciplined through concentration defensively. They dice you apart throughout the course of the game.
And they are just not doing anything but passing at the rim right now. Deterred again by Grunlow.
See Tillis right here, just a great backdoor cut by Hall. Not able, falls asleep a little bit defensively. Good find, good finish.
12 assists, 20 makes for Virginia.
And they have such good continuity. If you don't have good defensive habits about staying down in the stance for the entire length of the shot clock and communicating, they just inevitably pick you apart.
Williams for McNeil. McNeil contested 2, no. Rebound to Hall. NC State is smack dab in the middle of the danger zone. The Ritter. Hall. Yes! Will Wade was trying to get to the 12-minute immediate timeout. He couldn't afford it. He has to call it. 9 straight points, 4 straight makes for Virginia.
You talk about why Tess the Ritter is so talented. Not only can he score at the rim, but he can be a playmaker. Hall with his hands ready and a knockdown 3.
Coming up, our next quarterfinal, Louisville and 3rd seeded Miami. What a story the Hurricanes are. Their head coach, Jay Lucas, is with Taylor.
Hanging out here with Coach Lucas for Miami. All right, this is the first time we're seeing you this week because of the double bye. How have you guys stayed locked in preparing for this moment?
We've just business as usual. for us, you know, I think the main thing was there's a lot of things we needed to touch up and clean up on, and it gave us some time to practice and do that.
You guys just faced Louisville 5 days ago down there in Coral Gables, lost by 3. What are key adjustments that need to be made to flip the script?
I mean, we did nothing right, so hopefully we can play a lot better. We gave up 92 points, 46 a half. So as long as we can clean up the defense, control the 3, control the ball a little bit, I like our chances.
Word on the street, you hit the half-court shot at shoot-around this morning, Coach?
Yeah, it felt good all the way through. So I was pretty confident it was going in.
All right, good luck today, Coach.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Guys, he still got it.
We saw the video, Taylor. He does still have it, Jay Lucas. What a special guy, confident guy, someone you know very well, Jay. Looking forward to seeing him and telling his story in our next game.
Not only do I think he's one of the most talented coaches we have here in the ACC, as McNeil knocks down a really big 3 to close in this 10-point gap. But I think you're looking at a guy that is one of the top coaches in the country. Not only what he does basketball IQ-wise and X's and O's, but his ability to recruit. And there's a lot of rumblings around Miami that if Eric Spoelstra goes up top to a president or a GM role, that a guy like Jay Lucas could be the next head coach of the Miami Heat.
He could get Bam Adebayo to 84.
I don't want to talk. Congrats to Bam. You know, there's been enough negative talk about him reaching 84. Not you, just other people.
Sure. 10-point lead for UVA here. Meanwhile, they've scored on 11 of 13 possessions in the second half. Holloman to Lubin, and there's a foul. That's going to be on Jakari White. Winner of this game gets the winner of Miami-Louisville. Ryan Conwell was the hero down the stretch for the Cardinals yesterday. That one's coming up. We still have 10:31 to go here.
It has been the Tim Duncan show. He has simply been stunning throughout the tournament.
And here goes Williamson, doing whatever he has to do to help his team win.
Some of the stars and standouts in ACC tournament history. The 73rd annual ACC tournament today. Zion Williamson and Duke won it in 2019. They also won it in 23, and last year Con Knipple was the MVP. And here we are in Charlotte, where Con Knipple has become
He might be the MVP again. Might be the MVP again. The rookie of the year in the NBA, one of the top shooters there is. DJ Burns of NC State was in the building yesterday, taking pictures and signing autographs and kissing babies, doing his typical DJ Burns thing.
And I'm sitting next to the 2000 MVP as well. What were your memories from that ACC tournament run? What were your memories from that run?
Well, that was my freshman year, and got a chance to play with Chris Carrawell, who's now on the Duke coaching staff with John Shire and Shane Battier. But how difficult it was freshman year. And I think that's going to be similar for a guy like Caden Boozer, who hasn't played 25 to 30 minutes a night. And now John Shire needs him to do so with the injury to Caleb Foster. So, look, I believe Caden Boozer is up for the task. But now more than ever, this ACC tournament seems wide open for the likes of teams like UVA and Miami, NC State. FSU is not going to be an easy game tonight.
Duke, Florida State, 7 o'clock tonight, ESPN. There's NC State down by 8. Midway point of the second half. Copeland leaning in. Willow has the rebound.
I just feel like the rhythm and pace of this game has shifted towards how UVA wants to play.
Hall smothered by Lubin. That's a tie-up. And the arrow stays with Virginia.
Now, earlier in the first half, I thought Virginia style, they were knocking down threes, but they were playing a little bit more ISO matchup basketball. And that's not how their offensive rhythm usually translates. You see multiple people getting multiple touches, constant action, constant communication. And it's a lot about their fluidity in which they play. And you're seeing more of their UVA offense in the second half.
Lewis lets it fly and drills his 4-3. Sam Lewis this season, 11 for 17 from 3 in the NC State games. NC State facing its largest deficit. Into Lubin against Grunlow. It's been a tough matchup all night long, and that will be a goaltending. Count the basket off of the backboard. Grunlow is holding his right wrist and will be helped to his feet.
Well, when you're tired, defensive habits come out. And just look at his hands being down here. You're guarding a guy in Lewis that's one of the hottest shooters on the floor. If there's no hands up trying to deter his vision, here's a wide open look at the rim. If you're Darren Williams, you got to get up and apply pressure on the ball.
Virginia can challenge this play. You can challenge a goaltending call if there's a whistle on the play. And it appears that's what Ryan Odom is doing.
Call on the floor is goaltending. That is being challenged by Virginia.
New to the game this year, a coach's challenge. You can challenge a block charge foul in the arc. You can challenge an out of bounds play or a goaltending. That may have hit the backboard.
Hit the backboard first. Hit the backboard, hit the rim, and then he gets his hand on it. That's the right call. It's the right challenge by Ryan Odom. And nobody had possession, so that'll be NC State's ball, but that bucket should not count.
Backboard, rim, backboard, then on the way down. You have to have a timeout to challenge a play. So you may see this come into play late in the game in March.
If the ball hit the backboard and we're still going up and did not hit the bottom of the rim, then that would be a goaltending call. But since the angle of the shot hit the backboard and then hit the bottom of the rim, that ball was coming down. And by the way, that ball got tipped by DeRitter. What a big-time block.
5 blocks in the game for Virginia already. Virginia tied with Georgia, first in the nation, 6.2 blocks per game.
After further review, the challenge is successful. There was no goaltending on the play. There was no possession, so we will use the arrow, which will be NC State ball with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
All right, so Jay, you're all over that. It will be NC State ball with 9:09 to go.
Virginia has one remaining challenge, and they did not lose their 30-second timeout.
Well, never mind. I was going to say it. Thanks, Lee. Lee Cassell on co-play-by-play today. Lee's very good on the mic.
Kevin, it's always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure when somebody else does my job. I agree.
Good job by the referee crew to kind of recalibrate and do that pretty quickly.
NC State's had so much trouble going to the basket in this game, Jay. How do they get better shots down the stretch?
Well, I think you have to attack, and attacking starts with movement. And a lot of the shots they're taking, the degree of difficulty is pretty high.
There's a 3 for Williams. That's a brick. Lubin chases it down.
Good cut.
Third shot of the possession. In and out by McNeil. Boy, did they need it.
It's on Yenso being down in the paint is deterring anybody at taking shots at the rim.
Thomas, an air ball. Let's go to our Phillips 66 Big 12 tournament bracket. Texas Tech and Iowa State. A 4-5 matchup currently on ESPN. Two of the best teams in the country. Arizona and UCF coming up. 1 seed. Houston and Kansas will play later tonight in Kansas City as well. Iowa State currently leading that game 42-36.
Get a chance to see Kingston Flemings, one of the top scorers and top freshmen in the country for Houston. Wow.
Williams will shoot 2. You'll be heading to Kansas City after our games today. You'll be there for the championship match on Saturday. Who do you expect to see there?
I really don't know. You know, so much of the Big 12 has been just a gauntlet, and each team has been in the trenches. You look at the way Houston has had a losing streak throughout the course of the regular season. Kansas, sometimes you don't know which Kansas team is going to show up. Obviously, Texas Tech losing a guy like J.T. Toppin. Christian Anderson's one of the top players there. And BYU, I think, has recovered nicely since losing Richie Saunders with the way A.J. Devonta has played as well. So I think the Big 12 tournament, Arizona obviously is the favorite, but it still feels wide open.
BYU yesterday really locked down defensively against West Virginia. Struggling to score without Richie Saunders, but they held a decent West Virginia team. It's a little off the bubble, under 50. Williams goes 1 for 2. They'll come out of the game for Arsenal.
We're trying to find stretches to use Darian Williams, considering he's in foul trouble. And to keep him safe so he can finish the game down the stretch.
61-51 Virginia, closing in on 8 to play in our first quarterfinal. DeRitter to the rim for 2.
Are you kidding me? A man of that size and that frame has the agility and delicacy like that?
First-year player in college hoops from Belgium. Floater by Copeland.
Those are the type of shots that you need to make around the rim off on in. So either ball fakes or high floaters.
Just a second field goal for Copeland. Only a quarter of the way to his point total from yesterday. And a foul on Arsenal will send us to break with Virginia up 10.
We said before that Tess DeRitter was one of the top players, not only in the ACC, but in the country. A big man doing it off the bounce from the perimeter. Come on. Degree of difficulty, 1,000.
Great resume for Virginia. 13 in the net rankings, 12 in the wins above bubble, 6 quad 1 wins. These are 2 of the important metrics in selecting a team at the tournament for at-large consideration, and they're right in line with Joe Lunardi's projection of a 4 seed. Virginia's ranked 10th in the AP poll. It's their highest ranking in 3 years. Ryan Odom, magnificent job. Last 2 years at VCU, won an A-10 title there. Of course, famously was the head coach at UMBC when they upset Virginia in the first ever 16-over-1 in the 2018 NCAA tournament. Took Utah State to the tournaments. This is going to be a 4th school Ryan Odom will coach to the big dance, and one where he could stay and win for a long time. DeRitter, short, and grabbed by Arsenault.
So you like the offensive possession if you're Ryan Odom. They got a good shot. The ball rotated. It touched multiple players' hands. And for UVA, it's all about their offensive team having energy.
Look at those numbers. No turnovers and a half for Virginia. NC State with a 3 from Holloman. Down 7 with 7 to go. Is there a late pack push? First bucket for Holloman. Jakari White gets free and answers.
With so much elevation on that shot. Not able, just lost friction with him. Came back off that read screen and knocked it down.
He was hurt in the first meeting between the teams. He has crushed NC State from 3 in the next 2. Abel, of course, rejected. 6 blocks in the game for Onyenso. Here's Hall. It's an air ball.
How about NC State with only 2 points in the paint in the last 19 minutes of the game? Onyenso just deterring and changing the trajectory of everything.
And yet they keep trying it. Now they'll get it out to Copeland. Copeland driving, met by Onyenso. Jump stop, no. Back to Copeland. Here's Abel. It's good. It's 3. NC State's 9 of 18 from 3. They're 9 of 29 from 2. Can they shoot themselves back into the game? White again. Whoa, not even close, but DeRitter is there to clean it up. A shot so bad it was good.
NC State just looks a little tired defensively. Once again, 2 games in 2 days. The game versus Pitt took a lot of energy and effort out of them.
We talked about defensive habits. Is this half where it shows if you don't have those baked in?
I think it always shows when your legs get tired and your concentration lacks. You know, who do you become when you're tired? And good teams have great habits. Bad teams have poor habits. And at times, you've seen some of these poor habits come out through NC State. Doesn't mean they can't fight and be back in the game. A lot of these are trends that you've seen throughout the course of the regular season.
All in DeRitter to the bench. 1-1. That's the 7th team foul on Virginia. Charge to Mallory, his first, and it'll put Matt Abel at the line.
And a lot for NC State is just finding ways to get to that 3rd, that 4th, that 5th wind to get rejuvenated and energized to get back in this game.
Quadir Copeland talked about that a little bit after yesterday's win. He said the team had some talks.
But just look right now. Just look at everybody on the court, right? Like, you just want to see them be more together. Like, nobody's really communicating to each other. They came in for a little bit of a team huddle. You just want to see more energy and fight. And I think that has to start with Quadir Copeland. Somebody has to rally the troops.
He said, looking at this 5-6 years down the line, we don't want to have what ifs. Let's see if they play with that kind of energy in the final 5 minutes. Mallory sheds Lubin. Into Tillis, who's been a good playmaker today. Lewis on Lubin. Lubin gets his hand in there for the steal. Copeland does not have numbers, and he misses a layup. Tried to go 1-on-4. Lewis, Tillis, Mallory, Onyenso, and another turnover.
And slow it down if you're NC State. Get a quality possession.
Virginia's first turnover of the second half. And they get it right back. Mallory off the strip. Oh, Copeland smothers him.
Copeland just gritting and grinding. You could tell absolutely exhausted. Sprinting back on defense to try to get a block on Mallory. Mallory trying to initiate contact. Copeland avoiding it with a big-time block to keep his team alive. Copeland taken out right now for a breather. Just exhausted. NC State has to dig to places they haven't been before and find some fight and energy here down the stretch.
Copeland and Lubin have played 33 minutes today after big minutes yesterday. Lewis.
Great block by McNeil.
4 minutes to go. Holloman. McNeil, offensive rebound denied again. You just can't go in there on Onyenso. And he's got the putback.
Has he been tremendous in this game or what? Getting blocks on a defensive end, deterring shots, challenging shots at the rim, but then sprinting back to get offensive rebounds.
Malik Thomas says hello with 3:27 to go. It's going to be NC State ball. Ugonna Onyenso, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 7 blocked shots. The senior from Nigeria has been an NC State nightmare. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. And we're going to hear from Joe Zubin that Auburn, the first team out right now, with Miami in the field as an at-large, will face Tennessee, 3 Eastern SEC Network. Oklahoma's climbing as well. Big game between Oklahoma and A&M tonight. So a lot to decide in the SEC. Virginia with the lead by 9 here, 3:15 to play. Winner to the semifinals. It's the winner of our next game, Miami and Louisville.
It's a critical possession right here for NC State to get a stop, to keep them in this ball game.
Virginia with an ACC tournament record, 12 threes. Hall, that hit the rim? If it didn't, it would be a shot clock violation. Apparently it did. NC State takes a timeout.
Great job by Darian Williams being the first to the floor to get the timeout and value the possession for NC State.
We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Ugonna Onyeso has been tremendous in this ball game, giving you points, but also giving you 7 blocks. This is now the 10th contest where he's had 4 or more blocks, 8 points, 7 blocks, 6 rebounds. You're seeing the reason why he's all ACC defensive team and 5th in the nation in block shots per game. Just an all-around dominant performance by one of the ACC's top defenders.
He had an 8-block game against Butler. Thad Mata, the Butler coach, said we missed 29 shots, and I think he blocked 27 of them.
There was a shot clock violation. The clock will be reset to 2:57. NC State will retain their timeout as the shot clock violation precedes that.
That's big down the stretch.
All right, so NC State gets a timeout back. Let's check in with Taylor while we have a moment.
Guys, when I asked Coach about Ugo, he said with a smile, I can't say anyone's my favorite, but I love him. And, you know, he's had somewhat of a challenging career bouncing from Kentucky to Kansas State now here. So Coach said when he arrived in Charlottesville, you could see some of those battle wounds. And he said, hey, look, you're here to showcase what you can bring with no judgment. And he has. And, guys, don't sleep on that perimeter shooting. He's been working on the 3, too.
They hit 2 last game against Virginia Tech. First time attempting threes this year. Really surprised Ryan Odom this summer. What do we have here? Testa Ritter thought that was off of Williams. Virginia did retain its challenge. Ryan Odom and the staff will decide not to use it.
Yeah, it wasn't off Williams. It was off Testa Ritter. So right now I'm challenged by Ryan Odom and the staff.
Good player. You got to be careful there. You could bait your team into something. Virginia didn't take the bait. McNeil to cut it to 6. Yes! Paul McNeil has had a big shot-making day. 5th 3 of the game. 70-64. The NC State fans starting to make a little noise with 2.5 to go. Driving DeRitter out for Thomas. Passes up at 3. Spins in for 2.
When he puts his head down and utilizes that frame, he is an incredible shot maker with an array of different shots at the rim.
There's a foul on Dallin Hall. Hall is arguing that he was held by McNeil. Lee Cassell's pretty vehement, shutting him down.
We're going to watch the way McNeil became open on that last possession. Just poor communication by Malik Thomas here. You're going to see doesn't really help here on the switch. He switches when he should have stayed up. Left McNeil wide open for a wide open dagger.
So the 3rd foul on Hall will send McNeil to the line for a 1-and-1. McNeil will get the 2nd. Well, tonight on ACC Network and the ESPN app, it's our Nothing But Net crew. There they are waiting. Wes Durham very comfortably seated after the games. Hi, Wes. Dennis Scott, who just greeted Allen Iverson. What a meeting that was. And Luke Hancock, a shootout champion. They'll be after the games as well. So after this game, go to ACC Network for Wes, 3D, and Luke.
One request. Can we just please stop referring to him as shootout champion?
Your request has been submitted and it is pending. McNeil with 21 in the game. 72-66. Under 2 to play. Virginia by 6. Here's Thomas, who has 12. Trying to spin to that same spot he scored a moment ago, and he draws a foul. So crafty down the stretch. The graduate student Malik Thomas will shoot 2.
Well, Trey Holloman, the best perimeter defender for NC State, stayed down on multiple ball fakes and then finally bit on one, which allowed Thomas to find some space. Stay down, stay disciplined. Why jump on that one? And Trey Holloman doesn't have a lot of block shots on the season. Just stay down and stay disciplined.
Under the 6th and 7th free throws attempted in the game for Virginia. Three-possession game after the first one. Thomas hits them both. 14 now for Thomas. Typically balanced day for UVA. 4 players between 12 and 14 points. 90 seconds, 8-point lead for UVA. Williams to a cutting Copeland. He finishes through a foul.
You saw that Darian Williams posted up on that elbow extended on the right side, and out of the left corner of his eye was able to see Copeland with that cut. Thomas getting a little bit there delayed on guarding the cutter. Nobody bumping Copeland, and what a big time finish for an and one opportunity.
Third foul on Thomas. Williams and Holloman come out of the game. Abel and Arsenal are in. NC State is 19 for 21 at the free throw line. They have been brilliant to stay in the game. Arsenal guards Mallory, the inbounder. Thomas, a lot of pressure here from NC State. Oh, just barely broke it. And Mallory kind of fumbled with the ball there. DeRitter will drive it early in the shot clock and score.
What a great basketball decision by Tess DeRitter. Wide open for a 3 early in the shot clock after they almost turned over the possession. You're seeing the pressure here by NC State. That is the optimal position to try to get a trap. Dangerous pass over the top by Hall. He could have shot that one right there. Waits for the defense to settle and decides to attack the rim. This is a veteran-like play. Instead of settling for a 3, attack the rim and try to get to the free throw line.
There's a whistle after the play that allows Williams to check back in the game with Holloman. We're into the final minute. Trying to get McNeil free. He's free enough, and he'll shoot 3. Paul McNeil can make this a 4-point game.
Basketball IQ. Let's see that replay. When you feel a man trailing you and his momentum is carrying him forward, just stop and raise up. Paul McNeil raises up right there, feels Tess DeRitter on the right side, and leans into that contact and that momentum and gets to the free throw line, stops the clock, has a chance to cut into the 7-point lead.
Savvy at drawing those fouls from 3, McNeil. 6'5" sophomore. Short. Oh, big point to leave out there.
82% free throw shooter.
It's a great game, McNeil. 5 of 9 from 3, 21, no turnovers. Hits the second of 3. Once again, Arsenal and Abel in for Holloman and Williams.
NC State, you make this shot on the free throw, you get into your press, you try to lure Virginia into those corners where you have to get a strong trap and protect underneath the rim. You want to force a long pass to hopefully get a steal.
Arsenal will guard Mallory, the inbounder, again. He's got Hall, DeRitter, Thomas, and Onyenso. Here's the trap. Thomas dribbles out of it to DeRitter.
You don't need to break the trap to score.
NC State had a foul to give. McNeil uses it. All right, 49.8 on the clock, down 5. You play it out, or do you foul for a 1-and-1?
I think on this possession, you play it out. You try to get a stop. Actually, to extend the game, I probably foul.
Virginia.
I want to extend the game. I would foul and try to turn this into a possession game. Challenge UVA at the free throw line and make free throws down the stretch.
Virginia has pretty good free throw shooters on the floor. All 5 players are in the 70s in terms of free throw percentage. DeRitter. Mallory's going to back it out. And McNeil will foul him. Chance Mallory, a 77% free throw shooter. Statistically, it's the right player for Virginia to send to the line. Mallory will have a 1-and-1. He hasn't taken a free throw today.
You know, a lot of times I see players wait for the ball to be inbounded, but if you're smart, sometimes a guy like Onyenso, who's a 71% free throw shooter, if he dives towards the basket, nothing wrong with holding a guy like that and yelling, hey, get your arm caught up and then put him on the free throw line instead of one of their top guards.
The freshman Mallory purely hits the first. Next one would make it a 3-possession game. Originally a commit to Tony Bennett and then Ron Sanchez's program when he was the interim coach. Reopened his recruiting and recommitted to Ryan Odom. Charlottesville kid through and through, has the Hoos 2 points closer to the semifinals. Here's Copeland. Gotta go. Set up McNeil again. That is no good. It's loose. It's back to McNeil. Another three, and he won't miss this one. Timeout Will Wade. He takes his third timeout. 4-point game at 26.8, and McNeil is just fighting to the bitter end.
What a pro prospect. And you just see his size, his length, his elite shooting ability. A great tip out right there by Matt Abel. Able to get that tip out, and Paul McNeil Jr. just hands ready, a little sidestep to avoid the contest, and an absolute dagger. Look how pretty that form is, and the follow through and the lift.
So 4-point game. Virginia has all of its second half timeouts remaining. 17 fouls, so the next foul a 1-and-1. The semifinals begin tomorrow night. The winner of this game gets the winner of our next one, Miami and Louisville. Don't forget tonight on ESPN, Duke and Florida State, North Carolina and Clemson, which was a great game in Chapel Hill last week.
If you get the trap in the corner, UVA's been strong with the ball. In particular, Malik Thomas has stepped through multiple traps in the corner. You can't allow that ball to get out of the corner. You have to have a trap where you stay attached and you force a long skip pass over the top. If not, you have to foul quickly.
Tillis has come into the game for Onyenso, a little better free throw shooter. Tillis, Thomas, Hall, DeRitter, and then Mallory, the inbounder. Again, next foul, a 1-and-1. Apparently there's an in-venue clock issue. Our bug says 26.8. The clocks here say 27.3. Cassell was not ready to inbound the ball. Now he is. So they're going to stick with 27.3 on the clock.
Run the baseline.
Into Tillis.
That's a perfect place to get a trap.
Whoa, what happened here? He lost it out of bounds to NC State. They trapped Tillis and took it away.
Will Wade going offense to defense. Now you're seeing Darian Williams come back in the game. Tillis, you just can't put your head down and not be strong with it. I can't see from that angle, but it looked like it did go off Tillis towards the end.
Virginia's not going to challenge it, so they seem pretty sold.
You still want to catch the ball with your back towards your bucket with the baseline as a third defender.
Onyenso is back in the game for Ryan Odom.
I think Paul McNeil Jr. is going to try to get a look, have him come off some kind of action.
Instead, it's Williams. Lubin, one dribble, denied again by Onyenso. Abel forces it up, rebounded by DeRitter. Ugana Onyenso, 8 blocks tonight. And a free throw coming for Tess DeRitter with 15 to go.
Well, great switching and rotating by Hall to get out of Paul McNeil Jr. and they get the pass below. And this has been the theme all day long. Every time NC State has tried to challenge Virginia in the paint, Onyenso has been there to wave his finger like the Dikembe Mutombo.
He's now tied the second most blocks in a game in ACC tournament history. Only Cherokee Parks, who had 10 in the '94 quarterfinals for Duke against Clemson, is ahead of Onyenso. DeRitter 72%. Misses the front end.
Oh my goodness.
Thomas gets the ball and he's tied up. Virginia has the arrow.
When you work on this every day in practice, you have to pinch the person. These two red jerseys should pinch. You pinch. Everybody's staring at the flight of the ball while Malik Thomas is carving his way to get that offensive rebound. Just miscommunication, execution, details down the stretch. Those are habits that should be practiced every single day, and Will Wade knows it because they do practice it.
Hall will take his second timeout. Looked like Will Wade was looking up at the video board watching the play, and then he lost his mind even more than he originally did when he saw the replay. Now he's trying to keep spirits high as NC State had a shot block, committed a foul, and then lost an offensive rebound.
Literally, watch everybody stare at the fly of the ball. Look at all their eyes. Everybody staring at the fly of the ball. Darian Williams, he's even maintaining contact on Thomas. And that's how you give up a critical offensive rebound in a moment where you need to secure it.
We have one team in Virginia that's won so many tight games, one possession games. NC State, meanwhile, is 2-5 in one possession games. These two teams are not that far apart when you look at certain metrics, but in close games, Virginia has made winning play after winning play this year. NC State has struggled to put teams away, and the details have mattered today.
Down 4, you got to force a long pass over the top. Hopefully get a steal, get a quick 2. Or if they get an inbound pass, you have to foul immediately and extend this game.
One more foul before the double bonus, so the next one would still be a 1-and-1. Devin Tillis for the inbound. Lobbing it to Dallin Hall. He will be fouled at 12.5. Dallin Hall, a 79% foul shooter for a 1-and-1.
Those passes are dangerous over the top or baseline inbounds. Those are the passes you want if you're NC State. You got to anticipate it a little bit more. And now this game comes down to Hall, who was a big-time free throw shooter, 23 years old, made the Sweet 16 with BYU last season. Used to being in these types of positions.
First one. Good. And Yenso back on the floor. He's played 30 minutes today. His previous season high was 24. This is the free throw, and Yenso, look at this.
Unbelievable.
Just playing one-man volleyball. NC State's got it. Have to score right now. Copeland does not. Rebound Thomas. He is fouled. That will do it. Free throws coming, and a Virginia win is inevitable after that, as the Cavalier faithful who made the trip to Charlotte will be rewarded with a trip to the semis. A proud Papa Dave Odom right in the middle of it all.
Well, Thomas has secured multiple big-time rebounds in this game. An offensive rebound off a missed free throw to carry out and continue the possession, and then a big-time defensive rebound to close out the game.
Two-shot foul for Thomas. NC State played with a lot more fight than the first two meetings between these teams, but they lost by 15 and 29 and never led. So there's something maybe to build on for Will Wade here, but it's going to be Virginia with a season sweep 3-0 against State.
I think NC State is in the NCAA tournament, and I think this is really good momentum for them to continue to build off of. When you get out of conference play, it gives you a big room of breath and fresh air. The teams don't know how you play, and they can create some havoc in the tournament.
For NC State, the question is, where will they go? Will it be Dayton, or will they avoid the first four? For Virginia, the question is, who will they play tomorrow? Does the Cavaliers on the shot-blocking specialty from Ngana Onyenso and his 8 rejections, they are headed to the ACC semis. 81-74, the final score here in Charlotte. Great scoring balance. Testa Ritter, the first team All-ACCer, had 15. Malik Thomas with 16 for Cavaliers in double figures. It'll be Virginia against the winner of our next game, Louisville, Miami. But a great start to our 4 quarterfinals today.
And an opportunity for some payback for Miami. Louisville went into Coral Gables and ruined Miami's senior night. And guys like Trey Donaldson and Malik Renew, two talented players that have came back to the Sunshine State after transferring, will have a chance for some revenge against a Louisville team without their leading scorer and one of the most prolific basketball players we have in college this year, Michael Brown Jr.
Well, Ryan Odom said this was the place that I fell in love with basketball, the University of Virginia. And he gets a win in his first game as UVA head coach in the ACC tournament. Back to a place where he started his head coaching career, Charlotte, where he was the interim coach. Let's go down to Taylor with the shot blocking star of the game.
Bit of a height difference here, I'd say. I'll start with this. Do you know how many blocks you had today?
How many?
8.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
With that being said, tied for second most in an ACC tournament game all time. What were you seeing on the floor today?
I mean, all I see, like, my teammates believing in me, not fouling on the floor, and letting them come to the rim. When they have that kind of belief in me, that really helps me a lot. So I'm going to say, it's all my teammates, having that trust in me, knowing that when they go for a layup, I'm going to block it. So it's all thanks to my teammates.
Why is this team capable of winning an ACC championship this weekend?
Because we can play defense.
All right, thanks, Hugo.
Yes, and we trust each other. So
plain and simple, you heard it here first. Play defense.
Yep. Okay.
Taylor Ugana, before the game, was awarded with the league's Bob Bradley Spirit and Courage Award. He played with some immense spirit today. He leads Virginia into the semis. Coming up next, Miami and Louisville. Right here on ESPN2 to see who will face the Cavaliers in tomorrow night's first semifinal game. Great matchup coming up with Miami-Louisville. Don't forget Duke, Florida State, and North Carolina, Clemson later. But this was a terrific start, a terrific day of basketball here in the ACC tournament. Great job by Jay Williams, our entire crew. I'm Kevin Droud. We'll be back shortly. For now, we're going to send you courtside to West Durham, Dennis Scott, and Luke Hancock.
Kevin, thank you. Welcome to the College Basketball Live scoreboard presented by Open Door. SMU or even anybody else that might find their way to the field out of the ACC or some of these at-large bids. Onyenso puts the sticker on the board. Great to be with Dennis Scott and Luke Hancock. Virginia impressive at both ends. We may have a chance to visit with Onyenso before we're done here. He impacted the ball game at both ends of the floor, but especially on defense, 3D.
Oh, no question about it, Luke. It was a block party night here in Charlotte, and he led the way. And I like his comments with Taylor that they built their defense on toughness, wear you down, inside out. And when they make jump shots, Luke, they're a hard-to-beat team when they play that way.
That's exactly right. And you think this guy's coming off the bench. He's a guy who's subbing for Grunlow, was in foul trouble the whole game. Yeah. And I just thought he had a huge impact. Whatever the number of blocks is, you can double it with chain shots. He was a monster in the paint.
DeRitter was a first-team All-ACC pick, but Sam Lewis was there today. We saw Malik Thomas make plays. Chance Mallory impacted the game.
You remember the first time we saw Virginia up close in all the landscape of college basketball? What did Ryan Odom tell us? I don't make excuses. I went out and found the right players that fit my system. I went out and found the right players that want to play together. We can play slow basketball. We can play tough basketball. And you know my favorite young guy, Chance Mallory. He comes off the bench and changes the pace of the game.
All right, Luke, what do you got on the board for us here?
Maybe the most together team in all the country right here. I love the fact that they played through Tess DeRitter. You mentioned a first-team All-ACC player. And what we have here, they're going to double a player like Tess DeRitter, right? So the ball goes in the post, and you see the movement from Virginia. You're going to see a dive right here from Onyenso. What they're looking for is this 2-on-1. So you watch DeRitter as the double team comes over, and you see this high IQ. This is European basketball right here where they post up at that three-point line, and they'll walk you right down to the block. We can run the play. Again, creating the 2-on-1. We call this a one-more pass where you get it, get a good to great, and Sam Lewis, you mentioned him, he was clutch from three-point land, giving these guys a little bit of momentum, especially as the game picked up in that second half. You had to score more points. That's where Virginia's at their best ball.
College Basketball Live Scoreboard is presented by Open Door. Start your free offer at opendoor.com.